It is no secret that the video game industry boasts some of the most sexually objectified, stereotyped, and downright oppressive portrayals of women in any medium. So with that in mind, I decided to launch a fundraising campaign on the crowdfunding website Kickstarter, where I would create a series of videos to look specifically at the way women are represented in video games. I found myself the target of a massive online hate campaign. All of my social media sites were flooded with threats of rape, violence, sexual assault, death. The Wikipedia article about me was vandalized with sexism, racism, and pornographic images. They attempted to knock my website offline, hack into my email and other accounts. They attempted to collect and distribute my personal information, including my home address and phone number. There were images made, pornographic images made in my likeness being raped by video game characters and sent to me again and again.
Now we're going to be talking more generally about sexism in gaming and gaming culture, but we're going to be starting with Anita's experience. First question I'm going to send to you, Kim. You've seen the full video. What did you find most surprising about her experience?
It's a little much. I mean, I think that a lot of this goes on untrue, non-fact-based stereotypes that all gamers are misogynists and all feminists hate men, which neither of these are true. Neither of them are based in reality. I do get trolled sometimes, and I do remember it. It stings, but there's also a lot of people who have measured responses and reasonable responses.
Yeah, and as you point out, she did get a positive response as well. She ended up raising far more money than she expected to. So while there was the vitriol and the hate and the death threats and things like that, she also received a lot of financial support.
It seems like she's imputing the other side, and the other side has people who aren't representative of the whole, who blow it out of proportion. Yep. And then she goes back to this TED Talk, this women's TED Talk, and she says, look at what all these assholes did.
She's someone who's played video games her entire life and is really interested in the fact as a woman. And as a white man, I'm obviously uniquely qualified to talk about women's issues. But she's done this her entire life and wanted to explore it.
I think there are definitely communities, particular genres where the male domination is stronger than in others. But I know I play League of Legends, and we always have women in our gaming groups. I played Lotro before that. We had women. And I like that that's becoming more common.
I feel like there's a thing that sort of happened like in the Nintendo era, like the 80s. You know, those games weren't very plot focused. If they were, it was like Fantasy Zelda, that kind of stuff. As computer processors got more and more powerful and consoles got better, you suddenly had the ability to tell complex stories in games. You guys have to take into account the fact that like STEM subjects, men have always been more traditionally encouraged to go into them, and that includes in a way like video game development, modding community heavily male. So when, in the era when consoles got more powerful, you had more men going into that. They're telling stories that come from their perspective. It became sort of a, like self-reinforcing thing where only dudes are going into this at that time period, and the only dude stories are getting told.
If they've been playing games for a long time, I don't think that they should be shy about it. They should say, I belong here, this is my community too.
I feel like there's an expectation for women to have to prove themselves. This goes to the fake geek girl controversy too. You know, there's this comic out there, there's a guy in a Green Lantern shirt, and this guy goes, oh cool, Green Lantern, awesome. And there's a girl in a Green Lantern shirt, and this guy's like, do you even know the Green Lantern code? What is the emotional spectrum? Do you know what all the cores are? Tell me! You know, it's like there's this expectation that you have to prove yourself. You have to qualify yourself before you're allowed to talk.
You can't leave out the fact that there's a tremendous resistance to coolness in like all facets of like geek culture. You know, people get mad at you if you suddenly take an interest in your appearance, for instance, or if you suddenly try to learn how to talk to people without being creepy or whatever. And so whenever someone comes along, attractive woman, part of the outrage is like they can't be real because not to insult myself, but you know, because they've bathed recently or whatever. So
yeah.